This is our first review video for Knights of the Last Call. I'm joined by Bob Baumgarter.
Yep.
And Asius Strongforge. So we just finished up Adventure 1, which is Burnt Offerings of Rise of the Runelords. So what we're going to do here in this video is just sort of quickly go over what has happened so far in the story and kind of maybe talk about how Bob feels from the player's perspective about how things are going and some of his thoughts and opinions on that so far.
Absolutely.
All right. So our story begins in Varesia, and specifically in the small coastal town of Sandpoint, where our group of heroes has come together hunting goblins, ostensibly, who have destroyed a recent village of elves, which characters Gore and Burl had connections to. Now, Burl was already in Varesia looking for clues to the lost city of gold, Zin Shalast. While in Varesia, they came upon the former bar owner, Asius, down on his luck, and sort of brought him along with them as they made their way into Sandpoint to rest and recover. And that's where things really took off.
Yeah.
So we started with an attack, a goblin attack on the city of Sandpoint. And the knights sort of came together, defended the town, beat back the goblins, but started to realize that there was a lot more going on. And it was at the end of this that they met two very important NPCs, Aldern Foxglove, a noble from Magnamar, and Amiko Kaijitsu.
Yep.
So Bob, what do you think of Amiko? What do you think of Aldern?
Aldern was interesting. He was just a funny noble that, I think, wished he was stronger than he was.
Sure.
And liked Gore in our party.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. I'm interested to go see more about him, hopefully soon. But yeah, it was interesting trying to rescue him because I thought maybe at first we could get him into the fight. Then I realized he was kind of a coward.
Yeah, I think I recall you being like, "What are you doing here? Do something! Do something! Get a flank or something!
Yeah, give me something here."
Yeah.
So he was interesting. It was cool doing the boar hunt, which is a separate mission, which was kind of fun to do. Which was a little bit of a understanding more about how to attack things and stuff like that, and a little bit different. But then obviously Amiku is awesome because she's the main one that we're helping.
Right.
She had the best history of story building, which is going to keep going as Derik will continue the story. But she's got the most, I guess, flavor and funness to her. And obviously my guy being a barkeep, of his ale forge, obviously I think relates a lot to her and wants to keep, drinking at her bar and eating her chili and stuff like that. But she's got the most flavor, so I think interactions with her have been really fun and obviously story driven.
Yeah. So, after the events of the goblin attack, there were, several sort of suspicious events that occurred between, when things got real. So you guys learned that the crypt of Father Ezekiel had been broken into, that the remains of the priest had been stolen. And then while sort of trying to figure that out, suddenly Amiko goes missing. And there's a letter from her half-brother, Suto.
It was like plot twists left and right.
Who you had already met his father, his stepfather, Longjiku. And, at that point, you had this sort of complicated web, which led to the glassworks. And there, in the glassworks, you guys discovered Longjiku was dead, that the person who had been sort of behind the attack and had let the goblins in to the city was Amiko's half-brother, Suto. And that was kind of a big...
Well,
so I'm curious.
Everything got plot twisty there.
Thinking? Yeah, so what were you thinking before that, though? Like, where did you think that the narrative was going? Like, where did you think...
So when he was starting to act like a dick, the dad, we were like, oh, this is the guy. You know what I mean? Like, he's obviously the one who's got a little shadiness to him and glasswork, something's going on there. Sort of total whatever. No big deal. Then he talks about like whore mother, and I'm like, what? And then she's got a half brother. I was like, okay, now stuff's getting weird.
Right.
And then you get there because you think the half brother, maybe we'll visit him in Magnamar or something, but no, like all of a sudden he's there. This guy's frozen in carbonite.
Right. And so even when he's frozen in carbonite.
I thought he was still alive in there. I'm trying to check out the body.
Yeah. If you think about that episode, you're like, oh, is he okay? I'm like, no, he's real dead. I described it as like Khal Drago. From Game of Thrones, where he pours the molten gold on the guy.
I kept thinking he was just frozen.
Right, and so I think even when Suto appeared, I think everyone was like, oh, okay, cool, like what's he doing here? And then suddenly you're ruining everything. And the guy, and then someone was like, wait.
Pseudo's letter was even like,
Well, because it was a bait. It was right, a trap.
Well, it was like my father's being, you come,
Right.
and so we were like, all right, so we'll figure out why the father's bad.
Right.
And then,
and I think
plot
what
twist.
and I think what you saw there, which maybe didn't come out as much because you guys did defeat Pseudo and he was slain. I think that Pseudo obviously hated his father, but I think he did have sort of strong. And this kind of came out when you guys rescued Amiko after you defeated Pseudo. He had strong feelings for his sister. He loved
family,
her,
yeah.
and he knew, right? Because as you guys learned from his diary and from his notes,
Another plot twist.
that he wasn't really the person behind it.
Correct.
He was just serving someone else.
So you think the bad guy's the dad.
You think the bad guy's the dad.
And then you're like, oh shit, it's the brother.
It's the
and
brother.
then he's like reading the thing. He's like, remember that girl that died? That you thought died in that fire of the cathedral? No, it's really her.
It's
and you're
really
like,
her.
Fuck.
Right, exactly. And so you kind of like, right, in like 2 episodes, you go
I feel
from,
like I'm like, oh no.
right, you're just taking all these crazy notes. But yeah, he had very strong feel, he loved his sister and he had always felt like, she had been nice to him and kind to him where his father had been terrible.
Yes.
And so I think he wanted to save her. And, she even said, he told her the plans and said, you need to join us. You need to get out of here. And she slapped him and called him a coward. And then he said, okay, and he didn't kill her because he's like, okay, I'll figure out what to do with you later. But I think he was hoping that she would, come with him because, even she had left Sandpoint earlier in her life when she was an adventurer. And, she only came back after her mother died. So that kind of ties into the second part of that, right? That was the glass part.
Yes.
And there's sort of two storylines here, right? You have this arc of Nualia, who was this Asamar girl, orphan, who got raised in the town and was treated very, she was treated like a weirdo by the rest of the town because she was so
treated
beautiful.
like an object in certain
like an
sense.
object.
Yeah.
And she grew to resent everyone and then, eventually met a boy who did her dirty and, she had all this, and her father, we didn't really get into this because how would you know? But, her father, tried to, almost like you're going to a convent, you're going to be a priestess, you're touched by the gods. She didn't want any of that. So she had all this resentment built up. And that's where we kind of get to the events that happened 3 years before you guys arrived in Sandpoint.
Yes.
And that was when this rune well beneath the city, because again, the whole continent is basically layered on top of an
Rise
ancient...
of the Runelords.
Right, is layered on top. This thing flared to life, and it awoke in her this rage that set off this whole storyline.
And it awoke in a couple other things that happened too.
Exactly, right. Murders, deaths, killing. And, you guys then went into underneath Sandpoint and you found that. You discovered this whole new weird ancient world.
Yes.
Dedicated to Thassalon, which was the ancient nation of the Runelords. You saw statues of this. You learned that the Runelords were against each other, and this is 2,000 years. And here's suddenly this ancient artifact, this rune well, which sort of stores up this energy. And in the case of the Rune Lord of Wrath, it stores wrath and anger. And so when it awoke, it shot all that energy up through the sky and it kind of awoke in that rage in everybody. So, you guys have dealt with Nualia, but there's still this kind of question, which is, right, Nualia's anger and hatred awoke because that thing flared up.
But how'd that thing?
She didn't do that,
Correct.
right? That did its thing, but why?
Exactly.
Why after 2,000 years of laying quietly beneath Sandpoint, Heck, it was probably there before Sandpoint, right? Like Sandpoint's probably only 200 years old or 150 years old. So it's been there for 2,000 years. They build this city, and then suddenly after, 2,000 years, it flares to life.
Yeah.
That's kind of like there's something even bigger going on.
Yes.
And you guys have seen a little bit of that because inside that cathedral, you guys saw for the first time the Sahedron, the 7-pointed star. And Nualia had the amulet.
Yep.
And so she obviously had some sort of connection to this. And, I think as the story goes on, we're going to see that this one little incident in this small little town, I mean, as you mentioned, rise of the Runelords, right? I don't think it's too much of a stretch of imagination to say that, one of these Runelords or maybe several of these Runelords is maybe returning.
Yes.
And that this rune well awakening is
dun, dun,
is but a sign of the times to come. So after that, you guys, defeated that and realized, okay, we need to deal with Nualia. We need to deal with the goblins. And that's when you guys prepared to go to Thistletop.
Yeah. So we took a little bit of that water that was in that
Right.
rise. Well, we got in a flask just in case we want to mutate someone's body. I guess.
Right.
Yeah. So then we got out of there, kind of prepped ourselves, and then our main big mission then after that was to try to find or go to Thistletop.
Right.
And stop from the diary. They were trying to raise some demon.
Right. Malfa
Sheknor.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So you guys, you knew Nualia was trying to raise a demon at Thistletop that was going to come back and really destroy the town.
Yeah, I was getting nervous.
I mean, you were getting nervous. And, I told you guys that, there was a 1 in 10 chance that it would happen.
Yeah, that was a big debate.
And that was time-based. So when you guys first went to Thistletop, you guys came in, you fought your way through the forest.
Yeah.
You defeated the druid, Gogmort. You crossed the bridge. You made it into the first level. You fought and killed the goblins there, and then killed Chief Rip Nugget.
Yep.
And then there was this debate of whether you guys should go back to town or not. And you were, initially, against it.
Yeah, I did not want to go back to town. My thought was, this whole plot is that she can raise a demon. And Derik, being a great DM, has always told us that you can do anything you want, but time does happen.
Yeah, actions have consequences, right?
So you can go back to town, sure, you spend a week there. She's raising a demon.
Right.
So you can spend however long you need. So I was like, I don't really want to go.
Yeah.
But we did pick up a striking ruin.
Right. So
that was weighing heavily on me.
So let's kind of take an aside here.
Yes.
We're talking about the narrative. How about that striking rune?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
any of the runes have been pretty interesting because I came from a D&D 5e.
Right.
And so to me, like just a +1 magic weapon. That's what you get.
Yeah. It does 1 extra point of damage.
And now I'm like, okay, now I can have a +1 to my hit and then an extra damage dice or like an extra.
And it should be noted, of course, that Azius is using a maul, which is D12s. So he's doing an extra D12 point of damage.
I'm a barbarian, which I rage with giant instinct, so I can get really high up there.
Yeah.
So it was really cool.
And I think you saw that in that final session. Gore, Rory, it blew his mind every time.
Yep.
He couldn't remember that he was rolling 2 dice.
Yeah.
And each time he went to pick up that die, that second die, he's like, this is crazy.
Yeah, the striking rune is pretty legit.
You were hitting people for close to 30 points of damage, not a crit.
Yep.
And
I think ultimately
these creatures cannot take that kind of hit.
Ultimately, it was the right call to go back to town to rest, sort of tell everyone what's sort of going on, the mayor and whatnot, and then we're going to go back and try to solve this issue.
Right.
Knowing that Malva Sheknor could raise, which I was super nervous about.
Right, and I told you that
by fight Nualia anyway.
Right, you're going to have to fight Nualia and then maybe Malva Sheknor. And I told you that by taking an extra day, I was going to increase it by 10% chance.
Yep.
So instead of a 1 on a D10, it was going to be a 1 or a 2 on a D10. Now, you guys made your way into the dungeons beneath Thistletop. You fought off Nualia's most powerful bodyguards, Bruthaximus, who,
Thistletop in general was pretty cool because it was this island that sort of protruded from almost like the Devil's Rock in Arizona, or
I think it's in
out in the west. But it's like this face rock that has trees on top. The goblins sort of took it over. Oh, that's pretty cool. But they kind of tunneled out this area underneath. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, now we got to kind of figure this out.
And it turns out it's because that it was a head.
Yeah.
Right? It was an ancient statue. I mean, if you can think about how big that statue was, that's like bigger than the Statue of Liberty.
Yes.
And it was dedicated to one of the Runelords, this one of Greed, named Karzaug. And they were at war.
Yep.
With the two. And so they had imprisoned this demon as part of their war. This demon served the Rune Lord of Wrath, Alizhnist, who you guys had found in the one cathedral. He took her Ransur.
Yep.
And then Karzaug, Greed, and Wrath fight each other. They had imprisoned Malfa Sheknor, and then, their civilization came to an end. So he lay there for 2,000 years. So you guys fight your way through. You fight Nual, you fight Auric, you fight von Liechtenstein, as we call them.
Yeah.
You fought Bruthaximus, and then you entered into the Cathedral of Lamashtu.
Yeah.
And there, attempting to free Malfa Sheknor is Nualia.
Yeah.
And the fight is going. And I told you, I'm waiting. And then halfway through the fight, I go, okay, we're going to roll it.
Yep.
And then I roll a 1.
Yes.
And Malfa Sheknor is free.
Yeah.
What is going through your mind at that point? I mean,
fighting Nualia in general first started getting me worried because Derik, as the DM, starts again. Obviously, you can stick with the path a little bit of the adventure, or we can make it a little more interesting, which I always enjoy because going off the beaten path a little bit. So all of a sudden he's throwing out numbers like write down 200 columns, and I'm like
200 hit points.
Yeah, what does that mean? So now I'm getting real nervous. Like, is she going to transform? Does this roll over? How do we get the second 100 points? I already got these 2 spirit dogs fighting us, so now I got to fight her, or our team has to fight her, and we eventually get through a little bit, and she's not very easy.
And let's be clear, the beginning of that fight did not go well for you guys. No, I
actually think the turning point was Gore stopping her from doing that three action spell.
Yeah, so
after that, things went in our favor.
So Nualia, you're absolutely right. Nualia, well, it was 2 things, right? It was Nualia was going to cast a level 3 harm spell.
Yes.
In the 3-action AoE version. So that would have done.
We were all there.
Yeah, that would have done something like 20 to 30 points of damage, but to everybody, and that's just brutal at that point. The staminas were low. So that would have gone straight to the hit points, and that could have been real bad.
Yeah.
And so not only did Gore get the attack of opportunity, which was great because that's going to do some damage, but he crit.
Yeah. Nat 20.
And Nat 20. And not only, I felt bad. Danny, I think
he was in the bathroom at the time.
Missed it,
he hears us yelling from the bathroom. He's like, "What is going on?"
That was a pure moment right there. Gore rolls to 20. So not only does he do an absurd amount of damage.
It was awesome.
But the way that attacks of opportunity work from the fighter ability in Pathfinder 2 is if you crit on that opportunity attack, you disrupt whatever action they were trying to do. And so normally if you get hit with an attack from that, you can still cast a spell.
Yeah.
But because it was a crit, it was like a triple whammy.
Man, it was awesome.
She took damage, she took a lot of damage, and then she lost that spell.
And lost her turn.
And basically lost the whole turn.
Because she used 3-action spell.
Yeah.
So then it turns, we're okay. I mean, we're not okay. And then you're like, oh, let me roll. So now I'm just like, okay, it's not too bad. 20%. I mean, it's not great, but I just want, let's just see. He rolls it out there and the fucking one just pops up. I'm like, oh my God. And a demon? I'm like, I wasn't really ready for this.
And
105?
105 hit points. Yeah.
But luckily.
AC 25.
Yeah, that was the tough part, was the AC 25.
Yeah.
And now Gore had enlarged me, which is kind of fun. So when you're watching, Burl had enlarged me. So if you're watching the video, you'll see me jumping around as this giant barbarian large figure, which is kind of cool. But we were able to then sort of surround Malfa Sheknar, which I think was the big advantage, flanking like crazy.
And absolutely, and I think that's something that
getting those what do you call them? Getting all those status penalties, basically stacking them up, which is huge.
And I think that that's something that you may have seen even the players kind of learn as they've gone through this first adventure, and they've gained their first 4 levels. They started at 1, they're now 5. They just hit 5.
Well, none of us have played Pathfinder.
None of you have played Pathfinder.
All D&D.
And even then, your experience with D&D is fairly limited. You've only been playing for a year, maybe at most.
Yeah.
And for some of the guys, less. And, I think you've seen them learn how important those status penalties really are, how quickly they stack up. They make a huge difference. Because,
against us or against them.
Right, against us or against them.
I was frightened 4.
Frightened 4.
During that.
I think you crit failed.
That was this fight.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
And if you think about that, like that's really informed some of your character choices, right? Because, you took Shake It Off.
Yeah. Which is great that I took it.
Because you're like, I need a way to deal with all these conditions.
Absolutely.
And all these statuses. And, in my experience, having played Pathfinder 1, the conditions were never this prevalent as they are. And I think in this game, it's a big part of how you manage that. And I think the difference between, because obviously Gore, fighter, his attack bonus is, 2 or 3 points higher than you guys. It's huge. So for him, it's nice because, he can hit. But for you and for Villic, whose attack bonus is still good, but it's not amazing.
Yeah.
Giving those 2 or 3 points really makes a difference, especially for those second attacks.
Absolutely.
Like Azius he's gonna hit with that first attack. But that second attack, -5. And, if you think about the way your character is built, you've got all this damage stacked on your character, right? You've invested in the striking rune. You've invested in the giant's instinct. Mm-hmm. So you've got this +10 damage. But if you miss, you don't get any of that benefit. You only get that benefit when you hit.
Yeah.
And so hitting is so important to your character, right? I mean, because there's no partials.
Correct.
You can't be like, because think about it. If it was, okay, you missed, but my character still does half damage. Well, think about that. Like investing in damage makes even more sense
Absolutely.
now. But it's not like that.
Well, and that's where you had said too, and we need to start taking advantage of this, I think, as well, is using more of our actions for other things.
Sure.
So I swing, I miss. Okay, what am I doing? Do I have a shield? Am I taking cover?
Right.
Am I aiding? Something else with our action economy.
Because I think you have to make two. I think you have to figure out two things. I think the first decision you have to make is, okay, what AC is this creature? How dangerous is this creature? Right? Because if the creature's lower level than you, its armor class might be lower than you anyway. So that second attack at -5 still probably has a pretty good chance of hitting. But if the creature's your level or higher, even your first attack might be a coin flip.
Yeah.
And so that second attack with a -5, you might need a 16, a 7
very high
to
roll.
hit. That's rough. And so it might, and to say nothing of a third attack at -10. I think the third attack, unless you're, agile or, like Villic, where you have a much less penalty, I think making a third attack is just, I think it's just a mistake.
Yeah, so it was crucial that we went back to town to get the striking ruins, especially because we sort of, one of our members was sick. We traveled to the future for a side quest.
Yes.
So yeah, just for fun. And we were able to pick up a striking rune for Villic.
Right.
Then we had, obviously, Gore bought a striking rune, had a blacksmith in town, put it back on his weapon. Right. So now we have 3 people in the party.
All 3 martial casters.
Yeah, we were good. So, yes. Malthus Schechner was probably going to come out anyway because you rolled that hot one.
I did roll the hot one.
So,
right.
you probably been unprepared.
If I rolled a 2, you might have felt bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it would have been a very different experience, right? If you didn't have a striking rune, if Villic didn't have a striking rune.
Absolutely.
But, I think that's the key is understanding that sometimes, because whether a creature has 1 hit point or 105, it's just as powerful.
Yep.
It has the same number of attacks, has the same number of actions. And so sometimes giving the creature a penalty is worth more than just doing a little bit more damage.
Absolutely.
To it. Yep. And maybe not for Azius. Azius does a lot of damage. I mean, I'm not going to lie.
It's pretty fun.
And also too, realize that your first attack is also your most likely one to crit.
Yep.
And that's the one you want to crit on.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah. So, and then, and maybe you have to correct me here. In regular Pathfinder 2, because again, we have changed some stuff.
Right. We're playing with some house rules, which we'll talk about here in a minute.
Yeah. So, and the one I wanted to get to was the hero points.
Yeah.
So I don't remember how hero points work in Pathfinder 2 because I only use your system.
Okay. So in core Pathfinder, every character starts the session with a hero point. And then as you play through, the rule book encourages the game master to award about 1 hero point per hour, which I think is silly because if your players are playing better, what are you going to do? Not award them hero points? And in the core game, you can spend all your hero points, and if you're dying, your character will stabilize. That doesn't mean you're conscious. It just means you're no longer bleeding out. And the alternative use of them, you can spend 1 hero point to make a reroll of a d20. So that's not how my hero point rules work. My hero points are, you don't get them automatically. You have to earn them either by doing something awesome and fun and heroic and engaging in the game, or by getting certain key milestones within the game. Rescuing the princess, saving the town, killing Nualia. That'll earn you a hero point. So, I'm giving them out less frequently, or maybe even more frequently if you're earning them.
Yeah.
But you have to earn them.
Yeah.
But what they do in my game is you can spend all of them if you're unconscious and dying. Except in my game, it returns you to a hit point.
Yep.
It gives you back all your stamina.
Yep.
And then you get to pick up your weapons and stand up.
Yep.
So basically, it
truly heroic.
Yeah, it's truly heroic. It makes it so that if you have
final stand,
it's that final stand.
Get up from my sword.
Exactly. At that point, right, you have 1 hit point and all your resolve. You're literally just operating on pure
adrenaline
and gumption, right?
It makes total sense.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. And then the other thing it does, which is significant.
Yes.
Because hopefully you're not unconscious and dying that often.
Yeah, it happened that one time.
It did happen. It happened twice in the one fight.
Yeah,
Pathfinder already has this rule engine built into it. Okay, if you look at some of the level 7 and 8 abilities like Juggernaut and Evasion, or even the incapacitation trait, you'll see that there already exists this mechanic for upgrading or downgrading the success condition of a D20 roll. So you're right, you can critical fail, you can succeed, you can critical succeed. At level 7, the barbarian gets Juggernaut, and what Juggernaut says is that if you roll a success, it's treated as a critical success on a fort save. That's just what barbarians get. So that rule is already in the game. I simply allow hero points to allow the players to use that rule at their leisure, at their whim. It allows them to take and upgrade the condition of their roll one step. In other words, I can turn a failure, like a miss, into a hit. You can turn a hit into a crit. And you can also then do the same. If an enemy crits you, you can spend one of your hero points to downgrade that to just a hit. So you can't make a critical a miss.
No.
But it does give you a lot more narrative control over you saying, and it really allows you to say, hey, I played well. We've earned these hero points. They weren't given to me. I earned them.
I am a true hero.
All right. And this is a moment where
heroic.
I got to really, pull out all the stops.
Gotta, really grind into my, heroism.
Right.
But what was nice in that fight, which the
Nualia fight.
No, even the Malfa-Sheknor fight.
Okay, the Malfa-Sheknor fight.
Because I think Burl wasted all of his.
Yeah, Burl spent a lot.
I think I wasted all mine. And I think Gore wasted all his.
Right.
I think Vilk was the only one that didn't use any.
Right.
And so then, obviously, luckily, we got some back after we defeat him. But we literally had to do everything we could.
Dig as deep as possible.
So it's we have to waste everything. I mean, if I had more, I would have used more. And you're like, no, I don't have any more left. What do I do here? I got this giant demon dog thing, wolf thing, attacking us.
Greater Barghest.
Yeah, it was crazy. So that was pretty cool. And and because of that system, then we were able to do that, I think, which was nice.
So let's talk about another thing that it is sort of a variant rule. It's technically in the Game Master's Guide, but I kind of put a little spin on it anyways. Let's talk about resolve.
Okay.
Stamina.
Yes. Oh yeah. So people that are confused, if you guys are watching any of the videos, about what are you talking about? You have resolve and stamina.
Right.
And it's it's.
Right. So
I love this rule.
Yeah. So in core Pathfinder, you just have hit points. They go down, and then you can heal them with your medicine skill. You can heal them with your potions. You can heal them with your heal spells and soothe spells, and then they go back up. So in our game, it's a bit different, more or less. Half of your hit points is called hit points. And those represent the physical damage that you're taking. And those still get healed through medicine, through soothe and heal spells, through magical potions. But the other half of your hit points is called stamina. And stamina can come back like that. Mm-hmm. It represents your character's endurance, their luck, their faith, their drive, their will.
Their resolve.
And you can use resolve points in order to restore them. You can do this even during the middle of a fight. Mm-hmm. The big difference is between that and the core Pathfinder variant rule is I will reward the players with resolve as they sort of are making progress. I like to think of it as, you're running a marathon and, your stamina is dwindling, your resolve is dwindling, and then you past the halfway mark.
Yeah.
You see that you've got 13.1 back. Boom, you just gained a resolve point. Mm-hmm. Okay, you're really killing it. You're about to drop 1 mile left. Boom, you gain that resolve point. As you make progress, as you see your enemies falling, as you see that you're succeeding, that's going to fill your resolve up. I didn't do this, but I could see a situation or a trap or something that could take away resolve points from the party.
Demoralize
you. You come in and, oh man, Amiko's dead.
Well, so for my character, Azius, who has the, is it called, some with an A, not apogee, but where he has to prove his strength all the time because he took the giant instinct.
Sure.
So if he does not prove his strength, he actually gets like a penalty. Right. And you could almost be like, you critically failed on a strength and be like, you lost some resolve. You're demoralized almost.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think the big thing with the resolve, which I liked so much, and it was meant for this reason, is basically the reason of, I'm just gonna go back to town to heal up.
Right.
And so here we are debating if we should go back to town to heal up for Malfa-Sheknor. You're like, you could keep going.
Right.
You'll probably get rewarded some resolve because you guys are still grinding and you're still going through this. But if you go back, you won't get those resolve. And it's like, okay, so how do we do this?
Right.
How do we debate that?
I think it's cool because I think it's an interesting mechanical choice. It's like a game decision, but it also lets you kind of make that narrative choice.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, look, at the end of the day, this isn't a movie. It's a game. And you could be like, my character needs to press on. And it's like, dude, we're out of spells. I'm out of potions.
Basically what happened.
We're out of hit points. Like, if we push on at this point, it might be the heroic thing to do, but it's suicide, right? We're just going to die. But like, if the party was really tapped out and they kept on pressing on anyways, I might be like, all right, you get 2 resolve points,
But it makes like a literature sense, like a narrative sense. It makes sense that we're going to keep grinding forward.
Right, and I think that's a big thing of what I'm trying to do with this game. Adventure paths, right? There's no mystery here. Like they are trying to tell a story. There's a narrative that's written into the book, and the players have a lot of leeway to that. But, so I don't want to call it a railroad, but there is definitely a story that we're trying to tell, and you guys are trying to explore that story and enjoy it. And sometimes the core rules of the game just don't interact well with that, and so you need to come up with methods in order to allow the characters to sort of do the cool narrative movie thing that,
there's a balance.
There's a balance.
Yeah.
And, so something like treat wounds via medicine might seem great on the surface because you're like, well, wait, I have infinite healing. I can just, Gore or whoever else has medicine in your party, they can just heal me up with medicine. Well, right, but it's a 10-minute check and you can only do it once every hour. So what are you going to do? Like stop in the middle of the enemy's fortress and heal up for a few hours? It doesn't make much sense. I'd much rather have the party be like, the enemies fall. They take a breath.
Yeah.
They take a breath.
On my wound.
Throw a quick dirt on the wound. Say a quick prayer.
Yeah.
Boom. Spend one resolve.
Steady
Gain
my
back
resolve.
all your stamina. And then you're good to go. And so it's sort of like
which has happened. And I think that's what's really cool is it actually becomes, like I said, narrative sense. Like Gore will be like, I hunker down with my blade and I talk to it for a second. And I really I need to get this back to be able to keep grinding.
Right.
My HP's at like half.
Yeah.
But taking that resolve,
exactly.
I'm gonna keep going.
And I think that's a cool situation where your guys aren't at full.
Yep.
You're maybe down some hit points, but you decide to spend a resolve, get back all your stamina, and then press on anyways. But that's also where there's some cool elements there too, where if the group does have a few minutes, Gore can patch somebody up really quickly. Or if they don't have a few minutes, Azius can pass them a
healing potion,
a potion of elixir.
Potion of elixir, as I would like to call it.
If you like to call it.
Yeah.
And they can gain back, 5, 6, 10 hit points, kind of maybe give them a little bit more cushion and then go back into the fight.
Which I love.
Right.
So that was pretty much, and I'm sure there's other house rules that we're forgetting, but
those are the main ones.
Those are the big ones I think people watching would be very confused about, and which I personally like those ones a lot. And I mean, obviously this is my first time running Pathfinder 2 as a holistic campaign, and I've been pretty happy with how they've worked out. Yeah, and I'm learning how to DM from Derik the DM, so I'm an apprentice at this point. But I'm also running the beginner box of Pathfinder 2, which doesn't have these rules, so I kind of appreciate the rules when I see them and come out.
Right.
Like Vilix -3, -6 instead of -4, -8, which is a little bit of a nice cool boost for the monk.
Right.
But yeah, so we defeat Malfasheknor, and then we head back to town.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, we don't know what's happening next.
Right. Well, you guys are gonna have some downtime, and hopefully
watching at home.
Yeah. So hopefully the party's gonna. What I imagine will happen is these guys are new to the system, so I've encouraged them to kind of look at their characters not just in a vacuum, like, okay, I took all these abilities, how are they working out for me? But also in a greater context, how are they working out as part of the party, right? Because one of the things that Pathfinder 2 I think is so important is teamwork. Mm-hmm. And you may have taken an ability which seems like it's really cool, but maybe it doesn't work as well in the context of the party. So I've really encouraged them to take a look at their sheets, figure out what features and feats and skills are working for them and what features or feats are not working for them. Do some retraining and maybe swap out a couple different feats for newer feats. So, the heroes that we see in, the skin saw murderers, is going to be different maybe a little bit than the characters that you saw in the burn
so
offering.
If you're just tuning into this episode to get yourself catched up, then you're good to go. But if you watch these first ones, you might be wondering what's happening in the interim, and that's kind of what this is.
And also realistically, as far as the characters are concerned, the threat is ended.
Yes,
Nuali is defeated. There's this sort of real lingering mystery, kind of like what happened to Jimmy Hoffa.
Yeah,
kind of like why did this Runelord? But we shut it down. We killed the imp. The Quasit.
Yeah, there's no real threat.
There's no real threat.
Yes.
And that's a fair statement. Mm-hmm. There is no real threat. There's certainly no immediate threat.
And we were pretty banged up.
And, and then the group got a good amount of treasure. Mm-hmm. And so they do need to take some, several weeks, maybe even a whole month to lick their wounds, enjoy Sandpoint, conduct some personal research, and kind of figure out what's going to happen. Now, of course, things are at work, behind the scenes, and the heroes have, they've made too large of an impact to go completely unnoticed for this. So, these events that are going to happen are going to bring the heroes back into the fold.
Yes,
and whether they want to or not, they've become part of a
greater narrative,
a greater story. And
Knights of Last Call are known throughout their kingdom.
Right, exactly. So, and in fact, some of the relationships that they've already made are going to start to, sort of prickle back up, and it's going to sort of draw them forward as they sort of continue to dive deeper. And the overall meta plot of Rise of the Runelords is going to start to become more clear and apparent as you guys kind of go.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah. So from your Neophyte beginning. So
yeah, pretty excited.
Yeah, I think it's been really great. So anyway, last final thoughts. So what are you looking forward to the most for Asius? For
Well, I think there's a huge jump between level 4 and 5.
Sure.
Which I think is the same sort of in D&D. Like there's a big jump.
Yeah.
But I think 5 seems monstrous
I think
for
it's
us.
bigger. I think it's bigger in Pathfinder.
And I can't tell if that is just because of the stamina HP system yet or not. But man, my guy's like a 50 stamina, 40 HP. He seems like a minor but that's the thing. I think one of the guys I listened to on YouTube, and you guys might know this at home, but he had said that D&D creates characters and Pathfinder creates heroes. So I really feel like that on this epic adventure who now has a 50 stamina, 40 HP, and which is absolutely crazy. But I'm pretty excited to test out some of the new stuff that that my guy can do. Retrain a couple things that I think are sort of we're better at lower levels that are maybe not going to be,
which is totally fine. I mean, that's not even a house rule. I mean, that's part of the core rules of the game.
So I think that's going to be really fun for my character. I think trying to see where his drinking will take him, and his ultimate goal I think is to redo his bar. Right. So I think it's really is Ale Forge. So I think it's really cool that this idea gathering this gold and he wants to help these people as well. I think it's going to be really interesting. I'm me as the meta. I'm really interested to see where the story unfolds because there was a ton of plot twists for me. I'm like, oh shit, plot twists left and right. And I think that's going to be, I think that's really fun. Playing as an RPG character and what? It's not the dad, it's the brother. It's not the brother, it's, this other lady. Right. Oh my God, she's raising a demon. Oh, what?
And then the demon broke out. Yeah. You hear that and that's that. And that,
just kept compiling.
I understand how most people play. And I'll be honest with you. I play to find out. I don't want to know. I'm the dungeon master. I'm the game master. I don't want to know.
I like it.
Okay. If I know, it's boring.
Yeah.
It's like if you're the author,
I think
right? If you're the author of a story, of a mystery, you can't be surprised by it.
Nope.
If you watch the show, I rolled that 10-sided die out in front on the table. I said clearly beforehand on a 1 or a 2, Malfish Eknor's coming out. And
for a week we were debating this on the Discord. So what should we do? This guy could come out.
And I think beforehand there was this question of, is it there or not? And I said, I don't even know. Yeah. We're not gonna know until during the session.
It was awesome.
And so even during the fight, we didn't know until halfway through. Yeah. And then I rolled it, and then it was. And I didn't know what's gonna happen at that point.
Yep.
I mean, obviously everyone could die.
It could have been a TPK.
Right? It could have been. And I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't really even balance it. I didn't know. I mean, I knew that in theory, a group of level 4 characters can take out a level 7 character monster. I mean, that's considered a severe or deadly challenge, right? Which says you might win, but you might lose a guy or 2.
It was interesting.
But I didn't know. I didn't know if it was going to be there. Yeah. I didn't know how it was going to be. And for me, that's the way to play.
Absolutely.
Because here's the thing. Yes, these, the story, wherever it is,
where did it go?
We do have it there. We put it over there when we were looking at the maps.
I was going to point to it.
Yeah. Rise of the Runelords, there's an established story and things like that, but that's boring to me. And I want to see something unique and different. And so I don't know that there are many games
that can do that, yeah.
Where Malfish Eknor did get free.
Yeah.
This adventure may have been played thousands of times by thousands of different groups. I don't know that Malfa Schechner ever got free because people might have been like, well, no. Because you watch a movie and you think, oh, okay, they're going to stop the villain before she completes her evil task.
Yeah, no.
No. And even then, further to that, I was having Bob track those hit points. I knew it had 105. I showed you it had 105.
Yeah.
Its turn was coming up and it was going to flee. It had a dimension door ability. So it can teleport like not miles, but it can teleport like 1,000 feet, which is enough to get to the surface. And I'm like, this is an ancient demon freed after 2,000 years.
Yeah, it doesn't want to fight these.
Okay. And it's like, oh, I'll kill these mortals real quick. And then the battle turns on it real quick.
These guys are actually heroes.
These guys are real tough. And I'm looking at the thing and I'm thinking, this thing wouldn't fight to the death.
Nope.
It's not, it's not defending anything. It doesn't have anything to prove. It has an ability that lets it teleport. It is going to
100% flee.
Get out of there as soon as it can. And the damage just poured in on it.
Yeah, we were using
and Burl hit it with a second acid arrow.
Yep.
And just burned through him.
It was awesome.
And he was dead. So to that end, not only did it get free, but I thought it was going to flee.
Yeah.
And then maybe be like a reoccurring fill-in or a thorn in your side, or maybe like you guys start hearing rumors of like villages being burned, led by some demon, and then you maybe feel bad about that.
Yeah, that could have really weighed on the party. But in the respect of the coolness of Rise and Runelords and the plot twist that we did encounter, I'm excited for more of that going forward.
Sure.
Like, what's going to happen next? As like you were saying, I don't even know what's going to happen. And so we, as the party, have no idea what's happening. Yeah. I love that I don't know. Oh, and I like going forward, like trying to figure out what's going to happen.
And avoid the spoilers.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll hear of something because I listen to because again, Rise of Runelords is a PE1 or Pathfinder PF1.
It's the first Pathfinder.
First one. So I could, there's videos probably everywhere that I could, accidentally stumble upon. So I have to be careful, but I have been good so far. And so I'm really excited to keep going forward. And I think everyone in the party is. We might change some things, with mapping going forward, and we'll see some stuff. But I think people at home will hopefully enjoy what's happening.
Sure.
And I think especially that last episode. So if you haven't watched it, if you want to go back maybe one episode, just to watch the epic ending was pretty exciting, and then go forward obviously from this video.
Absolutely. On. And what and what we're trying to do here with any of these is, I understand that sitting down to watch one of these is very intimidating. At this point we've got close to a dozen episodes. Yeah. And, you're talking about 30 plus hour, like almost a work week, just to watch everybody, and, we're not Critical Role. So it's not even as
high quality. It starts to get a little better.
The quality goes up, but we still got a while to go. So I understand that it can be a little rough, but if you do want to, start watching it from here, and you don't want to watch that backlog, watch these videos. Mm-hmm. We're going to try to do more of these to kind of keep everyone apprised of what's going on and kind of get some of the players and the DM's thoughts, sort of a round table approach.
Absolutely.
And just to let you kind of feel what it is, because as much as I want this to be entertaining, and I said this in the first episode, as much as I want this to be about, oh, look at these fun, crazy adventures and all this fun stuff, I want you guys to see how like a D&D or a Pathfinder game operates, how it works. And if
in real life.
In real life. And if you've never played in one, or you've only played on one online, or if you've never been the game master, I want you to realize that you don't have to be Matt Mercer, okay?
Yeah.
You don't have to be the Mighty Nine. You don't have to be a Hollywood voice actor to have a fun time. And we have a great time.
Oh, that's a blast.
So, you can learn some basic principles and apply them. And as long as you do that, you're going to have an amazing time. And I think that, so far we've seen that. And, I think it's only going to get crazier and more insane from here. Burl's got Fireball now. So that's a whole other level thing. Suddenly Burl goes from shooting little darts now he can throw out basically a whole room-sized blast of fire.
He's probably going to torch us.
Yeah, maybe. So, thanks again for joining us. If you've watched any of these videos at all, thank you so much. Obviously we're doing this just because we want to play and we want to have fun, but we're putting this work in because we hope somebody gets something out of it. So if you're enjoying it, please subscribe, please like, please comment. I try to answer everything. I will get into a debate with you. I will answer your questions. I will tell you why I think you're wrong.
He does it to me all the time.
Yeah. And we can have that back and forth because, I've been doing this for a long time and I love talking about the game. So please just, interact with us and let us know what could be better, especially from the production side. If there's things that you guys want to see, let me know, and we'll try to incorporate it. We'll try to add it. One of the advantages of being small is we can be nimble. So agile, as the game would say. So,
-4.
-4, -3. All right, so for Bob, I'm Derik Melenda, and we're the Knights of Last Call. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you again shortly. Take care.